So chemistry is a big thing in the game. I'm going to explain just how it works, what you've got to do to be able to have it. And obviously, the buttons are so slow. Like, literally, what is all this? They need to sort this out. But you can see if I add a player in, for instance, we are going to go with, say, we'll go with Pickford because I know I've got him. If we go Pickford, you will see now down the left-hand side, we've got total chemistry. So we've got 0 out of 33 because obviously it's just one player in. But you can see as well, we have got English, we have Prem, and we have Everton. So they are the points for chemistry. So if, for instance, I go for another Prem player, they will add an extra point. Now, the big thing you've got is heroes and icons. Now, heroes give yourselves a double upgrade on a position. So, for instance, as you see, we'll show you the difference. Say we go and get an English centre-back. We've got Johnny Stones there. So, for instance, with him, you can see we get an extra point for English there. So, we've got 1 chemistry point per player who are English, obviously. We then have 2 players on Prem. We have 1 on Everton and 1 on Man City. So, if I take him out, as you can see, we lose that chemistry point because there's just 1. And then when we add in Carragher, he will give you an extra point for the league, and then he'll give you an extra point as well for English. Or at least an extra double for English. So for instance, if I was to keep him in and then put Johnny Stones in, we have now technically 4 players in England, but then we only have 3 players in the Prem. So because leagues are just very weird for them, it doesn't quite work out that way. So obviously if I was to take him out. Now the biggest difference as well is if I was to choose an English icon centre back, that again has some different categories on him. So say I go with Bobby Moore, we'll see that we'll get an extra double point for England, but then it's also, we should get an extra point for any other league as well. So for instance, say I was to choose a Barca player, we should have an extra per league on them as well, or at least that's how it should be done. Sometimes it might not be kind of clarified. As you can see though, with Liga F at the top there, we have 2 players for them. Well, obviously we only have 1. If I was to change this one out, we can see that, get rid of him there. We can see that we lose 1 on the Prem, 1 on Liga F, and then 1 on obviously England as well. So he does get an extra bonus person per league, no matter the league in your squad. So it's why icons become very, very useful at the start of the game. If I was then to throw in a hero, we'll obviously get the double points for the Prem, but then also we'll get an extra point for England as well, which is always nice. So in terms of chemistry, building your squad, the easiest thing you can do is building a 1 team, a 1 nation, 1 league team. That's going to guarantee you your points. But if, for instance, if I go through my normal team here, so we'll go into my team, TAM, for whatever reason. As you can see, we've obviously trying to get Neymar in there because obviously he's our best left mid at the moment. So with him, we've only actually got 1 Brazilian, or at least 1 point for Brazil, because we've got Bruno Gomes. And then obviously when it comes to his league, again, we've only got 1. So if I was to try and rectify this, one of the best ways to do it will either be to get Brazilian Prem players or obviously Brazilian players in his league. They will give you the double bonus. So for instance, if I was to go into Brazil, then I was to go into Saudi, wherever it is, should be, as I say, near the bottom. Let's go into, have we got any players from there? So you can go 2 ways as well. You can either go from his actual team. So for instance, someone like Marcos over here, he will give you a massive, massive boost because he's getting 1 on the league, 1 on his team, and then obviously 1 on his Brazilian as well. So he's going to have multiple links. So for instance, if I was to get a point in Brazil, a point in Al Hilal, and a point in the league, he would then get the 3rd chemistry. So for instance, if I was to do Richarlison, would get 2 points, and then obviously if I was to do someone like Fred, we should see the final point, because then we've got 2 points in Brazil, we've got 1 point for his team, and then we are still waiting on a final person in the actual league. So for instance, if I was to change this and was to go back to Marino and was going to change out Richarlison, and we was to get an extra person from his league. So for instance, if we go into the Saudi league again, we'll see who we've got, and this can be anybody. Oh, I shouldn't have changed that. This can be anybody from the league. So let's go have a look, and we'll go, well, we could go with Ruben Neves if we wanted, but just to prove a point, if we go Laporte here, we will get that extra point, because as now you see, we've got 1 in Brazil, 1 in the league, and one in Al Hilal. So technically, if you wanted to do this, I'd only need 1, 2, 3 different players other than Neymar if they're from the same team, nation, and league, as well as then a nation point, a league point, and you've got the free chemistry points. And that's really all you got to do. Build your team that way. Obviously, heroes and icons will have a massive advantage for actually building the chemistry. So you, for instance, the main one we're leading at the moment is Llorente now, but obviously that's not going to be the main team for now. So that's how chemistry works. Let me know if you need any more questions going on down below, and I will catch you later.